Today, we are going to discuss about the decline of the Harappan civilization, the earliest and oldest civilization of the Indian subcontinent. See, this civilization began to decline by around 1900 BCE with the downfall and the disappearance of the buried peculiar features of the Harappan civilization, right? So, at this juncture itself, historians are making a debate around the issue that what is the key factor that led to the decline of such a vast and the earliest civilization of the Indian subcontinent. And right now it is still an inconclusive issue among the historians. In order to prove the decline of the Harappan civilization and analyzing the key factors that led to the decline of the Harappan civilizations, historians are putting up different hypotheses, and the earliest hypothesis is put up by Mortimer Wheeler. What Mortimer Wheeler is putting up is nothing but the Aryan invasion hypothesis. What is this Aryan invasion hypothesis is all about? This hypothesis is arguing that the Harappan settlement in the Indus region here is invaded by the Aryans who came from Central Asia, right? See, in order to prove the Aryan invasion hypothesis, where Aryans they were invading in this region, what Mortimer Wheeler is doing is that he referred to Rig Veda, the earliest literary sources of the ancient India, right? Here, Wheeler, taking into the reference of the Rig Veda, Wheeler is arguing that there is a reference of a site so-called Hariyupiya in Rig Veda. This Hariyupiya is identified by Wheeler as Harappa, the first instance. The second instance is that in Rig Veda itself, there is a reference of the destroying of the forts, where the destroyer of the fort, the credit for the destroyer of the fort is given to Lord Indra, the worshipping god of the Rig Vedic period, right? So, from the terms such as those of the Harappa and then of the Lord Indra, what Wheeler is coming to a conclusion is that the Aryans they were invading in these regions, leading to the Aryan massacre. But historians are critiquing this Wheeler-Aryan invasion hypothesis on which ground? The ground is that, see, we came to know that the major Harappan phase, or rather the Harappan civilization, began to decline by around 1900 BC. We already knew. But the Aryans came to Indian subcontinent at around 1500 BC. So, comparing this time frame of this 1900 BC and the 1500 BC, there is a clear time gap of around 300 to 400 years, right? So, this time gap clearly negates the Wheeler-Aryan invasion hypothesis. That's why Wheeler's hypothesis cannot take into account the decline of the Harappan civilization, right? With the negation of Wheeler's hypothesis, another historian came up to explain the decline, and that another historian is none other than historian Ralki. What historian Ralki is arguing is that Ralki argued that this Indus zone is a tectonically active earthquake zone. When we are taking a cross-sectional view of this region over here, what we come to know is that, see, this is the floodplains where those Indus settlement sites were lying upon, right? Say for example, those of Mohenjo-daro, Amri, Kodisi. Since this Indus region is a tectonically active earthquake-prone region, whenever there is an earthquake, this floodplain, they got elevated due to the earthquake. As a result of which, whenever there is a flooding in this region, the river waters cannot go directly into the sea as these floodplain levels got elevated, right? As a result of which, the increasing water level right now cannot go directly into the sea. As a result of which, there is increasing river water right now submerged or drains all those settlement or sites which were lying in this floodplain area. As a result of which, this Mohenjo-daro, Amri and Kodisi, they got submerged under flooding or underwater. Here, critics are opining that yes, we can accept the fact that this Mohenjo-daro, Amri and Kodisi, they can submerge under the water with the earthquake-induced flooding. But what about those of the Harappan settlement which were not located on the Indus region, say for example, those of Lotha, those of Kalibangan, those of Banawari? What is the key factor that led to the decline of this region which were not located on this coordinacy? With this, the Ray's hypothesis cannot totally explain the decline of the Harappan civilizations. In this laguna itself, there is another historian coming up, so-called historian Fair Service. Historian Fair Service is arguing the disequilibrium or the mismatch between the population and the resources. Fair Service is arguing that with the increase in population, there is over-exploitation of the resource. It's a natural phenomenon. Say, for example, those of over-cultivation, over-grazing, and deforestation. With this over-exploitation of the resource, the soil fertility began to decrease, as a result of which there is a decrease in the production level, right? This is a natural phenomenon. So, this disequilibrium or the stress between the increase in population on one hand and the reduction in the population level on the other hand created a straits, and this led to the decline of the urban cultures, or rather the Harappan civilization, the Arya civilization of the Indian subcontinent. But here, critics are opining that, see, when we talk all about the peculiar features of the Harappan civilization, we talk all about the surplus agriculture, the manufacturing, economic activity, long distance trade, right? The crop specialization, etc. If this region is not fertile enough and if the production level is not up to the map, then how can we talk all about the peculiar feature of a surplus agricultural economy? With this argument, Fair Service hypothesis also could not explain the decline of the Harappan civilization in totality. So, in conclusion, what we came to know is that the decline of the Harappan civilization cannot be explained by a single monocausal explanation, right? In order to explain it, we need to take into account the different dimensions of the society, of the polity, culture, and economy, in order to fully, wholesomely explain the decline of the Harappan civilizations. That's all. Thank you.